You're listening to the PetaPixel podcast. For expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photo, video, lighting, and more, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner, and for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo Credit Card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax, and B&H pays you back instantly. Save the tax on eligible purchases shipped to eligible states. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/payboo. Credit card offers are subject to credit approval. Payboo credit card accounts are issued by Community Capital Bank.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the PetaPixel podcast. It's been a little longer than usual, or has it? I don't know. We recorded a long time ago. I guess we're on a regular release schedule. Yeah. It seems like it's been a little while. But we're back. I'm here with Jaron Schneider and
Hello.
Chris Nichols.
Hello.
How's your joy levels today, guys?
Life is a brown-skinned
Box of
American.
chocolates? Just say it.
Well, life as a brown-skinned American is stressful. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm in a position where my problem is far less serious or significant, but I have to use this Air Canada headphone set, like the cheap free ones they give you, because that's all I could find, because my computer won't connect to my Bluetooth headphones, earbuds, which is really annoying. Like either one. Google Beats doesn't matter. And like the output on this is pretty garbage. So if I mishear you guys, I'm going to blame Air Canada. Okay.
I wonder if PCs are notorious for having like weird wireless issues.
Dude.
I'm wondering if your Bluetooth chip either just fried or the firmware is bad, needs a full restart, replacement. But I had issues with my PC's like Wi-Fi card, for example. And it's just like, guess I'm getting a new Wi-Fi card.
I'm super excited about it. But hey, the show goes on. You guys sound tinny and hollow and at a far distance. Hopefully the microphone still sounds good. You can always
you sound fantastic.
Sure, microphone.
There's no change.
Oh, hell,
See, this is like
found it.
This is a test drive for me for like 10 years from now when I just shout things at you like, is it a good camera, Chris? And you're like, what?
This is a simulator.
This is a preview of coming attractions for
This
sure.
is a simulator for me in 20 years. And I'm like, sorry,
Absolutely.
what? Jordan, what?
Yeah, it's like the back half of Sound of Metal right now for you.
Yeah.
I asked about spirits because let me tell you, I've had this Costa Rica video kind of like in the back of my head for months. We shot this quite a while back, and it's always been something like, oh man, I got to get to that. That's coming up. Well, I am thrilled to announce it's out there. So you can all go check it out, see our adventure in Costa Rica photographing birds.
Very cool.
It's a fun episode that you should all check out, but it was a lot of work, and you should. And yes, I'm feeling very liberated right now.
I thought you were going to tell a ghost story. That's where I thought you were going with it, because you were saying spirits. Speaking about spirits, I was like, "Where's their ghost story?"
Oh, okay. No, just moods, emotions.
There were no ghosts in Costa Rica?
Any ghosts there? No. Bugs, lots of bugs.
I bet the exposed toilet had some ghosts there. That we stayed in one hotel where it was like you'd walk and it was like concrete bricks around you, but the top was wide open, and you'd just like befriend animals when you went to the bathroom in the middle of the night. There's like a spider or a lizard, or you never knew what you were going to see in there.
Scorpion in his shower. That was cool in the open shower. It was neat.
That's the closest to spooky, alongside, of course, potentially being eaten by crocodiles, which I was not. So if you need context on that, go watch that episode.
Out the video.
Yeah. But I'm going to go way back here because I was thinking about it, and there have been a few formative moments in our relationship, the three of us here.
Oh, God.
And one of those is going way back to 2020, a great year where nothing bad happened. One of the last things we did before COVID is the three of us all went to Costa Rica on a press trip there with Olympus, who were still Olympus back then. And I got very nostalgic for that. So I want to know, what was the best part of that trip for everyone here? Do you remember it, Chris?
Well, I remember you and Jaron going in the ocean and having a great time together in the ocean.
And you decided you were going to try and fish off the rocks.
Yeah, and I caught nothing. It sucked. Yeah, I caught, and could we have gone up the estuaries and maybe caught tarpon, or could we have gone up into the hills and caught trout and stuff? Yeah, but we didn't.
This is before I knew you had this
obsession.
obsession with fishing. I would, had I known how intense it was, I may have been more willing to like go out with you on that one.
I enjoyed the whole trip though. It was a nice trip. I think, you know, what keeps popping back in my head, like we had a really good time. Like the restaurants were cool. We ate on one restaurant, which is like neat. It was like right on the hillside, like cliff going down. That was pretty cool. But I think we stopped at a bar, a seaside bar, and it was just like an open bar. And it was the whole group. And we just kind of all hung out and had a beer. And I remember that being really nice. And, you know, obviously I say that because the whole trip was cool. It was a really neat trip to see Costa Rica for the first time. Everybody was friendly. The fruit market was neat. Like, I think we all had a nice time on that. And then, you know, everything went bad.
Yeah.
World-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even know if we were going to get back. That was like one of those like, yeah, they're going to stop flying pretty soon. Like, good luck. Yeah.
I am looking at some of my picture. There's one like picture of, I saw you took this bird again. It looked like the exact same bird, even though I know it's not. It is the yellow-headed caracara. I think that is a really, really cool bird. It's got it looks like a tiny
personality.
eagle. Yeah, they're really cool. I remember I photographed one off of a boat that looked identical to the one that you also were on. And
yes, we were in a very similar place. We might have even been on the Tarcoles River the first trip.
It looked like I've been on that river.
But it could have been a different estuary. I mean, they all have
they all look very
stuff
similar.
going on. Yeah, there's lots. I mean, Costa Rica's just full. How about you, Jordan? What was your formative time other than swimming in the ocean and not getting eaten the first or second time?
Yeah, that's the easy answer. But one thing I had a blast doing that I've never been able to do since is we went and shot a bunch of monkeys hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, you used a shot of that.
Photographing them is one thing, but to film them, like there's so much interaction and everything like that. Like thinking about it, I was like, I got about 6 seconds here of montage in that episode way back in the day. But I had maybe like 40 minutes of like awesome monkey footage. And it's like, what am I going to do with all this? So I want to film more monkeys. That's my 2026 goal. Let's find some, let's film them. At various frame rates. It'll be great.
I think you had a positive experience with monkeys there. They were fairly tame, but I've heard stories like monkeys can be not very nice, you know, because, you know, we're very closely related in humans, I tell you. So, yeah, man, it's you might get to a place where the monkeys are like ripping your microphones off and stealing your monitors and stuff. I'm just saying, a monkey might run off with an ISO prime or something when you're not looking.
I've seen Congo. I'm prepared. I know how to deal with a situation like that.
All right.
Well,
all right.
This week, the biggest news story of the week, which dropped essentially, like we kind of didn't even know about it, but we did that thing where we're like, if a big news story drops and we miss it, we're sorry. Well, that definitely happened because Nikon is suing Viltrox. That's going to be our main story this week. We're going to talk about what we think. I'm going to break down everything that we know, and then we'll discuss the whole thing about mounts and where this puts Nikon and that sort of stuff. That's the main story, but before that, a lot of other stuff happened this week too, so let's get to it.
But of course, we're always happy to have a sponsor for the PetaPixel podcast make this all possible. We'd like to thank this week PetaPixel's podcast sponsor, OM System. I mean, this goes in line with the project that we just did. They've been a big supporter of us over the years. We really appreciate it. And we were lucky enough to get to travel to Costa Rica, as we were talking about, for a second time. But this is very different because this is part of our trail cam series where we're not reviewing gear. We're actually doing what the end user is doing. We're going and we're enjoying the experience of taking photos. But we had a really cool experience because we got to go with OM System ambassador and fervent bird photographer Ben Canute. And it was awesome. I mean, we became friends instantly. He had so much knowledge to share, very generous with his information, his expertise. And you should definitely watch it on YouTube. As Jordan said, it's out now. He's relieved. I'm very proud of the work that we did there, and we definitely want you guys to watch it. So you can actually click the link in the description below.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out, like you shot that whole thing on an OM1 II, was like your bird camera, and then you had an OM5 II as your like portrait landscape kind of option. And I think what's kind of cool about it, I was saying before, is you're carrying basically 2 camera systems on you the entire time, and it didn't seem to phase you at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've used a lot of Micro Four Thirds, and I've used a lot of OM System and Olympus cameras before that, right? And I used it for outdoor stuff, like fly fishing mostly. But a lot of that was sort of hybrid video and photo shooting. And I was largely using lenses like the 12-100, and I appreciate how I could just like throw it in the boat. It's super small, it's versatile, and if it gets wet, I don't care, right? You know, and so that was the beauty of that. But this was my first experience really using it for serious wildlife beyond, you know, we go to Carbon Park and we take pictures of chickadees and deer and stuff, right? Like, you know, this was like a serious
brutal
excursion.
Conditions.
Yeah, this is a serious excursion where we are hiking, we are going up and down mountain trails, we're going through the jungle, like, and what I've learned about birds is there's all of this preparation, all of this work, all of this patience, knowledge, right? Listening to bird sounds. Like these guys are listening to bird sounds, and then they're like, okay, well, I think it's in this direction, let's go. And then like, oh, they're spotting it 20 minutes before we could ever spot it. And like, oh, there it is up there. Do you see it? Like, no. And, you know, and then getting all set up for the moment. And you only get a split second to do that. And if you are not prepared, if you're not set up properly, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss some really good shots. And so a lot of the time spent was holding this camera with like a 150 to 400, you know, with the teleconverter built in, like beautiful lens, but a big lens, and you're holding this thing and you got to hand hold it. And of course, the minute you drop down to take a rest, the birds can do something amazing inevitably. So I guess what I'm getting at is it was really nice to be able to have that kind of gear, get that 1,000mm equivalent focal range, and still be able to hold it for quite a while on target without dying, right? Like if I was using full frame with like a 600mm or something like that, or an 800mm, like you need a monopod or something, and then you just cannot react and move quickly in time to get the shot that you're trying to get. So I can see why a lot of people like it. There is absolutely merit to having the smaller sensor, but also then getting to downsize the lenses and still get the reach you need. And given enough light, you can do some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, I want to mention too, we shot that all on OM1 IIs as well.
Video.
And it was all handheld. So Michael was out there as well, and he kind of fell in love with one of my favorite lenses on the OM lineup, which is the 300 f4. And if we were shooting on like pretty much any full frame system, and it's like, here's a 600 f4, go hand hold that and shoot video all day, it would destroy you. And even if you could just handle the weight, like, it's just not going to be terribly stable. It's going to be tough to watch. And I was really impressed how stable that footage came out, even when he's like on a boat, panning around birds and stuff like that. Like that stabilization is great for video.
And look, I've used full frame gear and APS-C gear as well for that. And I mean, it all is good. I mean, everything's good. It's just there's the right tool for the right job. And for what we were doing, where we're really like moving a lot, hot temperatures, man, was it hot and humid, and just having to be able to react, I did appreciate the smaller size of the OM system gear for that for sure. Yeah. And you know what? Like, speaking of travel photography, there is a very cool contest right now that OM System is running that actually ties into our Costa Rica video perfectly. So if you use the hashtag travel with OM System, you can get this. It's a street and travel photo contest. Substantial prizes. I think you got like an OM3 up for a prize, an OM5 kit up for a prize, WANDRD camera bag. It's very simple. Post your best street or travel photo on Instagram with that hashtag travel with OM System, and then just make sure that you tag at omsystem.cameras. Head to their landing page, which is linked in the video description. Complete your entry. It has to be a new post. You can't just like hashtag an old post that you already did. So make it a new post. This contest runs through February 16th. The winners will be announced March 2nd, so you don't have much time, but you also don't have to wait very long. Grab your camera, go through your portfolio, find your favorite street or travel photo, post it on Instagram today. Again, those hashtags will be listed in the description below. Definitely do that.
Chris, you're not allowed to enter this contest, but if you were, which picture from Costa Rica would you submit? Go.
Ooh, I want to actually know this one. What is your favorite or what you think is the best picture you took? Because if you're listening to this and you haven't watched this video, Chris hit some absolute bangers.
Thanks, man.
I really liked
it's some of my favorite photography that we've had on the show for sure.
Like you were obviously getting some great stuff. So I'm curious, which one is...
We're done glazing you. Pick one.
I don't know. There's just so many to choose from. It's like, how do I, if I had 20 children, how do I pick which one I love the most?
You always have a favorite. Every parent knows. You don't tell them, but
out
you
of my
do
3
have
kids, I definitely have a favorite. We don't need to worry about it. I really like the shot of the red-eyed tree frog I got, where it's like hanging on a stem and it's kind of like wrapped looking past it.
I feel like that crop would be so good to do like an artistic crop print where it's super tall but pretty skinny.
Right. And I did shoot it vertically. Cool. That's how I shot it. Yeah. So that one. I mean, it's all black background. You can make it whatever ratio you want. But I like that one.
I did.
For bird photos, I mean, like, it's not always about what was technically best. That was kind of interesting, though, is kind of learning from the guys that we were with. Ken Martinez is local guide, Ben Knott, who's OM System ambassador, both very skilled bird photographers. It was very revealing to learn that, like, getting a good bird photo, all this stuff has to apply photographically. In focus, proper shutter speed, nice light, but also like angle and height, like you want a clean background. You don't want to be shooting up at birds. You really want to try to get as eye level as possible. That meant a lot of like scrambling up mountains and hills to get more of a straight on. Better to be further away and crop than to shoot close and low and not get the angle kind of stuff. But then also every bird has its best kind of pose. And like some you want to capture in action with their wings outspread. Hummingbirds, you want their tail feathers kind of splaying out. Like some birds look better from the front, some from the back. Like it was really interesting and dynamic to learn stuff that I would have just been like, yeah, it's a bird and it's in focus. Awesome, right? And they're like, well, not quite, Chris. Like, there's more to it than that. And I really started to learn that. And also the rarity of the species. So I got a shot of a mangrove hummingbird, like just posed, kind of like, open wings. And I really liked that one. And it was like, they told me like, oh, that's a super rare bird. It's amazing. We got to shoot that. I liked a lot of the sort of common black hawk stuff that was like just flying away. We had really pretty light that day. I don't know, man. There's so many. There's so many that I like.
So the hummingbird one, then you'd enter that.
The hummingbird was cool because that was also like the last photo of the day, and we just pulled. You got to watch the video. But yeah, the common blackhawks were pretty. A lot of the hummingbird shots actually I really like because we don't really get a lot here in Alberta. Almost none where we live. What else? Yeah, the frogs were really cool. Shooting the stuff at night was neat. I like the motmots and the trogons. Like they're just really pretty birds, and I think I got some nice shots of those. So yeah, man, there's so many that I liked.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
But I'm not allowed to post those, so someone else should win that camera. Get an OM1, an OM3 or an OM5. They're both fantastic cameras. Do it today. Put in your post. Get your entry in.
All right, let's get to the news. We'll start with one that I don't know. This could be potentially unsettling for some. Leica is at least entertaining the idea of selling a majority stake in its business, according to a report from Bloomberg. So that's a pretty legitimate source. It doesn't look like they would sell that majority stake to like a company they work with. Like I would prefer if they're going to sell a stake, it would be like sell some to Xiaomi. But it looks like it's probably just going to be more private equity. Woo! At least that's who's interested now. Now, that's not to say that much would change. Leica is already owned by a lot of private equity. So it's not necessarily like, oh, that's going to change Leica. Probably, I mean, it might, but it's not going to be a major deviation from where they're at now. I don't know, guys. What do you think of this? This couldn't be a better time to sell. They're worth a lot of money. They've been having 3 solid years.
Yeah, man. I don't pretend to know much about like private equity and whatever and majority stakes and whatnot. But I guess what everybody's wondering is often when these companies do make these purchases, they feel like they need to make changes, right? And I don't know if that's going to be the case here because this isn't a company that's floundering and needs like help to recover. This is a company which is coming off of 4 years of record sales. And, I've always said this about Leica. They're a company where they're just like, look, this is us. This is what we do. Take it or leave it. It's doing great, and this is who we are. And they do a great job marketing stuff. So I imagine if it is a switch over, that it would just be business as usual. I kind of hope that if they do take over majority stakeholder, whoever it is, they don't start making big changes and trying to fix things that aren't broken.
Yeah, I think like what I'm seeing is the companies that are kind of led by a distinctive voice tend to do really well in photography, especially if that voice is passionate about photography. And Dr. Kaufman, who's been like at Leica basically since they rose from the ashes, I think it was back in 2005, 2006, where they were really struggling, and kind of set them in a path to really isolate, we're photography first, we are luxury products that's got Leica to where they are today. And I really like that, where if you have suddenly private equity where it's just a bunch of bean counters looking at stuff and no passion for the brand, then that's when I could see things really falling apart. So that's my fear with that. We'll keep an eye on it, but I do think, Chris nailed it, that they're doing very well right now. This is not something where people are going to be like, they're floundering, let's just chew them up for parts. They're going to want that profitability to continue. And because that profitability is really because they're photography first, I think in the last little while, they're going to have to maintain that.
I mean, what's quite unique about this situation is, we've met Andreas Kaufmann and his family. I mean, really, it's a family business. They all are invested in this Austrian investment firm, ACM. I'm not going to mess it up, but this investment company, it's been there, as you say, for like 20 years. It's very clear that Andreas and his family love the Leica brand, right? I mean, we've met him multiple times. We've done interviews with them. They really do love the direction they've taken Leica. So I guess it's become part of the culture of that company. And so that's where you kind of hope that it still maintains that feel. The Kaufman family, I guess, are saying in this report that they are thinking about, if they do sell, they would think about reinvesting some money back into it, of course, but they wouldn't be the majority stakeholder anymore. And so, we'll see. What I wouldn't really want to see is the sort of magic that makes Leica magical to change or disappear.
All right. Let us know what you think about this. I don't know. Leica has it's weird. Sometimes when Leica releases a new product, it's like one of our best videos, and then sometimes when they release a new product they get nothing but derision. So I don't really, it's hard to tell how people actually feel about Leica. So let us know what you think about Leica. All right, this one was I don't know, is it divisive? I'm not sure, but last week TTArtisan announced a limited edition version of its autofocus 35mm f1.82 APS-C prime lens that is giving McDonald's,
hot dogs. Yeah, dude.
Jeremy's title is great, I think. This might be the ugliest lens I've ever seen. I posted a link to this on Threads, and the comments were mixed. Some people are like, why are you being mean to them for trying to get away from black?
Sure.
Also, the other one being like, it's the McLens. So I just want to be clear. I'm not against people doing something that's not a black lens. I think I'm against ugly. There's got to be somewhere in the middle here where if I don't have to pick between black and Ronald McDonald.
So what TTArtisans is saying, and actually I think the Kodak company in general is getting a lot of fanfare right now. At least the brand is getting a lot of fanfare right now. So TTArtisans is saying this is actually inspired by Kodak colors, which, okay, I get. But I also get the McDonald's reference. I just see ketchup and mustard every time I look at this. I don't love it, but I'm all for a company doing fun colors or trying new things. But what camera is this going to go on? So in their video, they have an XE2S, which looks like it's been custom painted to match.
Yeah, I don't know. Or is that just an AI generated?
Or is it AI generated?
I don't know.
This lens is not going to really match the aesthetic of
any camera
that exists
There's
now.
One exception, and it might be a really old Pentax camera, back when they were doing.
Oh, I bet there was, yes, a K30.
But they don't make it. They don't make it for that mount. So you can't even use it for it.
But besides that, so this is a 35mm f1.8. It's going for that sort of vintage, heavy cat's eye bokeh is really the kind of look they're going for. So, the kind of thing where if you're going to do a portrait of somebody, you want them in the middle of the frame because the corners are all just going to go like Petzval effect wacky, which is a cool look. I mean, sure, the thing about Chinese lenses right now is they're going in every direction all at once and giving everybody a lot of choice. But, are you going to make me test this thing? God, I really don't want to walk around with it. I do love that one of their sample photos, though, they've got looks like a sort of form of chicken karaage, and there's like ketchup looking sauce in it. So awesome. I like the color match. But yeah, man.
I'm not a big fan of ketchup and mustard. So on like,
oh, you're crazy. I love ketchup
together on anything. I like one or the other, and very rarely do I like ketchup.
You can see one of their sample photos. The lens is mounted to like a proper chrome and black Fuji film.
It looks awful.
It looks awful. It really does. Like, it looks awful. But
it's truly heinous. That's what I put on Threads. Is this is heinous? It's so ugly.
But hey, there you go.
All right.
I am the beholder, bro. I am the beholder.
Tell me how wrong I am in the comments if you think this is beautiful.
Why are you hating? Oh, yeah.
If I was going to like a beers and cameras event or something like that, of course I would stick that lens on my camera. Everyone will talk to you. Like, what is going on, Bumblebee man? It'd be great.
Ektar and Tri-X are now joining the Ultramax 400, Kodacolor 100, Kodacolor 200, and Gold 200 as being directly distributed by Kodak, at least in North America. It looks as though they have taken more of their film back from Kodak Alaris, and they have rebranded the boxes. They've got that cool new box design, and they now, if you go to Kodak's website, the consumer and professional tiers of films, consumer is Kodacolor, Gold, and Ultramax, while professional is Ektar and Tri-X. Kodak has its own film back now.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And there's where red and yellow makes a lot of sense, right? There's our ketchup and mustard, and it's striking on a shelf, right? When you're looking to buy it. Cool, man. I mean, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought all these companies that we thought were going to get destroyed and torn up are fighting back and taking their patents back, and it's pretty cool.
Jaron, what is going to be the impact on film photographers of this? Is there anything? Or is there going to be more availability?
A couple dollars cheaper.
A couple dollars cheaper because they no longer have to pay the middleman. Like Alaris isn't trying to get their 5 to 10% on top.
Ektar's a nice film. Ektar's a nice film. Tri-X, of course, I love, although it's not the Tri-X that I grew up with.
We're missing one film still. It's the really popular Portra. Yeah, Portra is still not on this list. I would expect that to join the professional line at some point soon.
Speaking of Kodak branding, there you go.
Yeah, that's not Kodak.
No, this is Rito's Snappic A1, but I'm playing with it. But it's Kodak branded, right?
Correct. You can put real Kodak product inside of it. And
I put Fuji film in there. I'm sorry.
What'd you put in there? 200?
I think I got Fuji Color 400 in there right now.
Fuji Color's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Not my favorite. It's fine. Anyway, Ektar and Tri-X, they now have a cool new box. They should be available now. I love Ektar for
nice
forests and fall colors. Nice I really love the green rendering on it.
Yeah.
And I think you like Tri-X, right, Chris?
Oh, I love Tri-X, but again, as I say, it's not the Tri-X from when I was a kid. But I mean, it's still got that same sort of dramatic, chunky grain, beautiful film. I like the modern stuff too. I just like the old stuff even better. But that's old news. It was reformulated many years ago.
You like these, Jordan?
Yeah, I do. I haven't shot Kodacolor as much, but I shot a pile of Ektar. That was like my go-to film back when I was messing around with that a little ways back. So yeah, happy to see it.
For what it's worth,
wonder if Fujifilm's going to start making more emulsions now. That'd be really nice to see. They got to bring back some of the old stuff that was really good.
I mean, I'm not seeing a ton of investment from them in their slide film or their color negative film. They're putting it all into Instax.
Yeah.
And I know. Every time I go to Japan, I buy more film because I'm pretty sure one of these days we're going to hear it's gone, and that's it. There'll be no more.
Fine.
So I want to have a freezer full of it because I'm so scared of not having access to Provia. By the way, funny story. When I was in New York last week, I got an email. Had to have been 6 p.m. Eastern. I got an email from Blue Moon Camera Machine here in Portland, and they're like, "Hey, we've got Velvia. We've got some Velvia. Get it now." And I look, and they're like, "They had 5 rolls."
Is every analog store now, every store that carries analog film, a drug dealer for you, Jaron? Are they just calling, they have the foresight to be like, "Oh, Jaron's in town, he's gonna want this. We got 5 rolls, Jaron. You better come down and get it."
I should have bought all of their Provia. They don't limit you. It's first come, first serve.
Right.
What's funny is I went downstairs. I was in a hotel working on a project. I went downstairs and Dima was down there. I'm like, Dima, Blue Moon's got Velvia. He's like, should I buy it? Bought it all. He owns it all now. He sent me a picture.
Nice.
He just went and picked it up. So all 5
for
rolls
him.
went to Dima. I think he's going to put that in his wide lux.
Hey, speaking of the exact opposite of analog, Sony has a couple brand new sensors they've just come out with. Hey, global shutter square sensors. This seems to be their push now.
Made a couple of these, yeah. This is a 16 megapixel global shutter image sensor that measures 22.5 by 22.5 millimeters.
Right.
A full frame image sensor, for those curious, is 24 by 36.
Yeah. So it's close to a cropped full frame sensor.
This is probably an industrial sensor.
Yeah.
But like, we'd love to see more stuff like this. And Chris, you'd love a full square sensor, I know.
Dude, if they were going to make square wafers, which they could, I mean, it just has to be cost effective, right? But if they were going to make creative square sensors, then my digital TLR dream could come true. And if it was global shutter, then you wouldn't even have to worry about a mechanical shutter in there. You could, and not worry about rolling shutter issues and stuff like that. It would just be insanely expensive, I guess. But or put a mechanical shutter in it, and then make some standard BSI sensors that are square. Why not? Why not? Let's just do it. And of course, the camera would need 2 sensors because I'd want to have 2 different lenses on it. It wouldn't actually be a twin lens reflex. It would just look like a twin lens reflex. And then you have a digital EVF on top. You'd look top down. It'd be amazing. And you just swap between the 2 lenses. You have 2 focal lengths. It's great.
This camera you're describing is going to cost like $12,000.
Everything costs $12,000 now.
Look, if you want, I can take this idea to a camera manufacturer and be like, do you want to make a Chris Nichols camera?
Bro, put twin 24 megapixel standard 3.2 sensors in there and then just
The
mask
sensor,
off
I think we've decided
care.
to call it.
Yeah, just mask off the corners. Who cares?
Okay.
It's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard.
Final story of the week. Well, not really, because we have the main story as the final story. But the final not main story is that last night, Nikon updated the ZR with its first firmware. It has a pretty good number of things in there. Jordan, do you want to talk a little bit about some ZR?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I'm really happy to see is we now have a wired time code. Because, it's nice to have wireless options out there, but sometimes they're not bulletproof. So it's nice to have something you can just plug into the little 3.5 millimeter microphone jack, sync your time code, unplug it, and you're good to go. Everything is jammed and rocking. So that is, I would say, the major update. But there's another one as well that I've been asking for. I've actually been talking to, Panasonic. Can you please do this? Because they were the first consumer camera company with waveforms on their cameras. When you're switching between different profiles or different ISOs, your clipping point is going to change. And waveforms do not generally reflect this. So what you have to do is keep cranking exposure until you can see suddenly it clips at a certain point on the waveform. And then you're like, oh, okay, I have to remember my clipping point is at like 80% or something like that. It's silly and it's dumb. So Nikon is now adding a little red line, and that's your clipping point. So you can tell what your absolute values are on a full waveform, just like you should be able to. But you can also see, oh, that's my actual clipping point at this ISO with this profile I've selected. It's a no-brainer, and Nikon did it. So yay, Nikon.
One of the biggest discussion points when this camera was first announced was they're like, well, it doesn't have active cooling, so obviously we're going to have overheating issues. So then we wrote a story where it's like, actually, this thing can record for like a long time without it. I think it was over 2 hours.
Until it's cut off.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with this update now, it can record for 6 hours. It doesn't do it in RAW because I think that would generate too much heat, but you can do it in ProRes 422HQ, H.265, and H.264 formats. And as if on cue, first comment, well, why does it have a limit at all? Like, for the love of God, do you people not want to be happy? Like, I feel like you are actively trying to be dissatisfied whenever something comes out. Like,
But
Can I tell you, if you leave this camera plugged in your bag and accidentally hit the record, something I have done never actually, then you don't want your camera to just cook there, in a confined space. So it does make some sense in that regard. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, 6 hours is an enormously long runtime. But I want to take a moment for the arbitrary 2-hour and 5-minute record cutoff. This was introduced with the Z8. I said, why 2 hours and 5 minutes? And Nikon said, we don't know. We have no answer for that. And then they brought out different cameras with different sensors that all had a 2-hour and 5-minute record. And up until like our most recent Nikon launch, I said, hey, why does this have a 2-hour and 5-minute record? I never got an answer. So this is a mystery that will never be solved. And now that that's gone on this, maybe we're moving past it. So this is one of the great mysteries, like a Bigfoot, that will never be solved by me. And it's very frustrating. I want to know why. Like, was it some Japanese executive's birthday was 205? Who knows? February 5th. They're like, we got to put that in as an overheat limit. I don't know, man.
Now that we have this change, think of all the like church service videographers that will be cheering now, right? Like there are situations where you might want to record for 3, 4, 5 hours in a row. So here you go. Here you go.
Speaking of that, leaving it on in a bag situation, there is one other update to this firmware where you can actually make it. So the ZR had this quote unquote problem where if you powered it on, the light would turn on and tell you it was powered on, and then that little LED would just go away. So unless the screen was open and you could see it, so let's say you close the screen and you put it in a bag and you accidentally hit the power button, you would actually not necessarily know that it was on. Apparently this was a big enough of an issue that Nikon was like, we should make it a feature to have that power light just stay on so you know that the camera's on. So that is now in here too, Jordan. So it will help you not overcook your camera in a confined space in a bag.
Jordan, can the Nikon ZR shoot 23.976 frames per second?
It does, actually. If you put it in its 24 frame per second record mode, it'll actually be recording at 23.976 to enable proper sound sync. Chris, why do you ask?
I don't know why I ask. For some reason, I'm just thinking 23.976 just popped in my head. Like, oh, wait, you're wearing it.
What? Oh, why, this must be another fun design from Harper Finch, not Fitch. Yes, it's not just for photographers. They have fun things for video shooting people as well.
Wow.
This isn't sponsored by them. But,
and you love
this shirt's cute.
23.976, right? That's your preferred frame rate.
That's been our frame rate for the show for going on 12 years now.
No matter how many people complain.
So I was going to mention this in the What Have You Been Up To section, but I have been up to talking with them. It looks as though we're going to start moving forward with some greater discussions about working with them more. You guys clearly like the shirts, and they're really excited about
and
working
AI.
With, they love us.
I also like AI.
Stop. Well, I don't know what. Okay, what does that mean? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
No. You guys would have to do some research or something.
I don't want to do research.
No.
Oh my god. Anyway, that's we're progressing. So thanks to Harper Finch for wanting to chat with us, and Chris and Jordan will keep wearing those shirts because they're neat. All right, let's talk about the main story, which is another news story, and this is I don't know how I feel about this. I'm curious how you guys feel about this as well. But it was reported last week that Nikon has filed a lawsuit against Viltrox in China over the Z-mount patent. We could not get confirmation from Nikon, and our official sources in Viltrox also weren't responding to our email about this. However, you cannot escape the PetaPixel. One of our readers messaged Viltrox's official Reddit account on Reddit and asked them, "Are you being sued?" And Viltrox responded, "The sue is real, but the result is still pending."
Damn.
So, confirmation. I have a screenshot of the sue is real. Put it up on the screen right now. Yes, this is actually happening. Here's what we know. So the difficulty with this one is that all of the paperwork is in Chinese and it's not super clear and no one's talking to us. But here's what we have gathered. The core dispute here is that the royalties for provisional protection period have expired, or at least have changed. I think the patent that Nikon filed has finally been granted. So they were in a pending. It
was pending, yeah.
Now they've been granted it. So their Z-mount is patented. So now they are suing Viltrox for the royalties they say are owed to them during the period that the patent was pending. So under Chinese patent law, the provisional protection period is the window between when a patent application is published and when it is formally granted. It's very likely that Nikon is claiming Viltrox was using the Z mount while Nikon's patent was pending, and now that that has been approved, the company is either seeking royalties for the period it was pending or outright claiming infringement on the patent and seeking a ban. It is not clear which. The lawsuit alleges that Viltrox never had a license to Z mount, and rather maybe made lenses reverse engineering the technology, and Nikon just didn't have legal standing yet to stop them, which is not what we were under the impression was happening. We had been talking to Nikon for some time and Viltrox about Z-mount, and Nikon was super cagey or not descriptive about why Viltrox lenses were allowed on the platform, but Sigma wasn't, for example. Now it looks as though Viltrox actually wasn't necessarily allowed. Yeah.
I think it's important to note that Canon has also taken similar action against Viltrox over RF mount.
Yep, and it wasn't just Viltrox; it was a couple other brands.
Right, yeah,
too.
they went after a lot. Yeah,
scared a lot of them into submission. So here's the thing: what do we think is the best outcome here? Because Nikon was like good guy Nikon for a while, like they were like the brand of the people. This sort of doesn't jive with that. This now looks as though they don't want to be that, at least in this way. So how do you guys feel about this?
I don't know about that. You know, it's like there's a lot of third-party company manufacturing of lenses, and I think we have already established like it's not always above board. Again, I don't know the particulars of this. That's why they're going through this lawsuit. But there have been companies that will use technology that they don't necessarily have rights to. And so, I mean, every manufacturer has to have the ability to protect their patents and their intellectual property. So, I mean, like, I don't know, if they're using an unlicensed, if they're using a mount that they're not officially licensed to use, well, then it seems pretty cut and dry. And it was interesting when we see these companies and you're like, why do some companies have lenses for certain mounts and other ones don't? You know, I think a lot of companies get past that just by using the physical mount, but not any sort of electrical connectivity. You know, they can kind of get around that, like, oh, it fits, but it's not, you know, we're not using your autofocus or anything. But then you start seeing these lenses that autofocus well and that meter properly and transmit EXIF data. And you're like, how does this work? Like, how is this even allowed? Where is this going? Love the Viltrox lenses, absolutely. And I've said it before, I think they're probably one of the preeminent manufacturers of lenses in China right now. You know, I think they're going to become maybe the Chinese Sigma eventually. But are they above board in getting the right technology patents or licensing? We're going to find out. I don't know.
The thing I find really interesting is we were saying, like, look, Nikon's allowing some third-party lenses on, but it seems like they're trying to avoid lenses that compete directly with theirs, which is why I was so surprised to see a 135-1.8 and a 35-1.2 come out from Viltrox that were dramatically less expensive than the Nikons. So now we have a better idea maybe what was actually going on behind the scenes on that. So I think the big thing is, if you've already got these lenses, when you're updating firmware on your cameras, is it eventually going to get worse and worse or just suddenly stop functioning?
My guess
that's
is,
something
yeah.
I'd be very concerned. So I think this is just going to destroy resale value on the Viltrox lenses that are currently out there.
They will
'cause I don't wanna
become e-waste.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to have to avoid updating firmware. I mean, we've said it plenty of times. We just did a news story about it. Nikon's one of the best companies for regular, very compelling firmware updates. So if these start bricking your lenses you've paid for, that's going to really suck, I think.
Yeah. So should Nikon seek to block Viltrox, which would be one of the options here, then existing Z-mount lenses would theoretically no longer be supported. That may result in worsening performance over time, especially as Nikon updates its firmware. We've seen firmware straight up brick third-party lenses before. So like they can straight up code that in there. Only allow specific type of coding to work with their cameras. It's also possible, and I argue this is probably the best case scenario, both from Nikon's like a public image perspective as well as users, that Viltrox will be given the chance to officially license Z-mount.
Sure.
But bear in mind, that will increase the cost of Viltrox lenses as Nikon would seek royalties. So they're already seeking royalties, / also, first they're probably saying, you owe us money for these 2 years that you were making these lenses. Oh, and also you can't do it anymore. That's what I think is likely.
Yeah, they could do a cease and desist altogether. I mean, there's lots of ramifications that could come from this, right? Yeah.
So, Chris, you brought this up. Looking at this from Nikon's perspective, it's probably selling cameras at a near loss to get people to adopt the system. Like the Z6 III coming down, I don't know what, $800, $900 since launch. There's no way they built that into the margins of that camera initially. Like they've got to be close to break even there. So it has to sell lenses to make up that difference. Otherwise, it can't function as a business.
Yeah, and beyond that, I'm all for like classic. If you have intellectual property and your company's dependent on it, and you have not officially licensed that, people shouldn't be using it. I mean, it's. I think it's pretty cut and dry. So yeah, if you're officially licensed to go for it, great. If not, yeah, you should expect a lawsuit. As much as I would love to see Nikon Z mount open up to all these other lenses, I do feel it has to be done above board. I'm not saying that that's not happening here. That's the lawsuit's going to figure that out. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if you have unlicensed technology, or you have your own technology and someone's using it in an unlicensed fashion, I think they should be brought to bear on it.
I do think that Viltrox should be paying royalties, but I, at the same time, think Nikon should allow them to continue to make lenses, and also let Sigma do it. Here's one more thing I want to mention. From a consumer perspective, with cameras, people want choice. So for the entire history of cameras leading up to mirrorless, correct me if I'm wrong, third-party lens options have been a thing. Right?
Yeah, it was harder to do because it was all mechanical, or even like electronic Canon mount and stuff like that. Like it's just a pass-through. It's not software and stuff like that like we have now. That's how they've given themselves the ability to really block development if they want to.
And with mirrorless, but previously DSLR and backward, like people could have whatever they wanted. Theoretically,
not really.
Right? M mount was like not for a while, but I think the patent expired on that one.
I'm sure that for many, many years the mounts themselves, the actual physical mounts, were still patented.
Right,
the actual
but
design
nobody protected them. From a consumer's perspective, you could buy EF, F, whatever Minolta's mount was that Sony picked up. I don't know why you'd want to buy that, but you could.
MD mount, the old school one.
Screw mount, Pentax K mount.
Sure.
All of these, there were other options available. So what I'm saying is, from a consumer's perspective, they've always had third-party lens options as a choice, regardless of whether or not the patents were protected or existing. It's just like from a consumer's perspective. So it has become very jarring, therefore, for anyone who's been using cameras to now have that choice removed. And I would argue Canon's popularity in mirrorless has suffered because of this. And I think that while I completely understand where they're coming from, and Canon has looked me into the windows of my soul and said, this is a business decision. We make more money when we own our mount and sell you our lenses.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for your candor, Canon. That was perfectly true. I just think from a consumer perspective, they're used to having choice and don't like being told they can't have it, especially when companies like Sigma are making such outstanding optics so affordably, and they're just not given the option to have them. So that's why I think this is an issue for a lot of people, is they're used to not having to make that choice.
Yeah, one other thing that I think in terms of perception is Nikon, like you said, had that good guy image, and we were like, why not Sigma? But it seems like everything else is out there because we were seeing these Chinese autofocus lenses for it. And we were seeing Tamron as well. And I mean, we can tell what's going on there. I mean, Tamron formulas have been released under the Nikon badge, and that's clearly how they got around that. But now, I mean, essentially you have a system that looks like it's as closed as RF mount, with the exception of Tamron now is where Nikon actually is. So it's not a dramatic difference. Tamron makes some great lenses, but it's not a hugely more open mount than the RF at this. They're both in the same kind of situation.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Tamron is also very much pushing Nikon to protect its mount because it is invested in it being the only one people can get third party from.
Yeah.
Like if you hear them talk, they say like, we have the most lenses of any third party manufacturer on Z mount. Like we have the most options, we have the best option or whatever. And I think they will do everything they can to keep that.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe eventually they'd rather say we're the only ones that are making third party for Nikon Z mount. And great, you're right. Tamron does make great zoom lenses, but heck, I want some primes. And Tamron has basically, I mean, they make one prime, the 90, but like, God, come on. Like I said, people want choice. People want to be able to pick their own things. And just because your 35-1.2 is different from their, like you both make 35-1.2s, for example, that doesn't mean the 35-1.2 on one looks like the other. Like, I like how things have a different rendering. You can have choice.
Yeah. You can have choice if you choose to buy Sony. Then
Correct.
You can have choice. Possibly Panasonic/Leica.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing is all these manufacturers are saying, you know, we definitely want to sell more lenses. Where I love Sony's strategy, which is like, we'll make our lenses so good that people will buy them. They have that level of confidence. And Canon and Nikon are making amazing lenses, right?
But Sony also gimps. They cap you.
They do. Yes.
So you bring up a good point, Jordan. Do you think that I personally think that is an acceptable compromise? Make my camera, limit me if I'm not going to use the Sony first-party glass, but don't stop me entirely. I think that's better than stopping me entirely. Where do you stand on that, Jordan?
I mean, I'm always going to be like, hey, don't limit their performance. If you're going to keep saying like, oh, ours are so good, people will always buy them anyways for the inherent quality, then you're kind of undermining your own argument if you're limiting what other lenses are capable of doing on that mount. But on the same token, I would still say like, yeah, man, I'm looking at E-mount a lot because I might not be able to shoot insane frame rates, but those Sigma and Tamron and Viltrox lenses are still extremely usable on that mount. And again, I'll take usable over completely restricted any day.
Not many people need 15 frames per second even, right? So for a vast majority of people, it's not even a limitation. And yeah, if you're a big-time sports photographer, journalist, yeah, you're going to buy GM lenses pretty much anyways, right? So, yeah.
The other thing that I think is worth talking about is that Viltrox did join the L-mount Alliance a little over a year ago, I feel like. We have to talk about this. L-mount has the backward problem. They've got no cameras for photographers. Sure, S1R2. No, I'm sorry. I don't like that camera personally, and it is not a system mover. People are not picking that up to shoot pictures. Panasonic very clearly, despite what they say, is a video camera company. That's great. I'm clawing at my face here desperately. Please, somebody make a camera, a photo camera.
You're offending German and Japanese executives as we speak right now.
Great. Maybe with the Japanese may take this as like fine, we'll prove you right. And the Germans just keep taking the existing Japanese technology and putting a red dot on it. That's not the same. That's not okay. We need the only way to actually compete now with L-mount is to make a camera that's actually good for photography. And I'm God, it's so
to their credit,
frustrating.
Panasonic's been hearing a lot of people say that for a long time. So
and they've done nothing about it.
Not nothing. No, not nothing. But I'm the first one to say they're not there, right? We all know the autofocus is the issue. The cameras are great. Image quality's fine. The handling's good. There's no problem there. It's just autofocus performance.
I don't like the...
And a sexiness factor.
I don't like the user experience taking pictures with a Panasonic camera.
Hey, I don't mind it.
When Jordan handed me the S1R2 and like, here, take a few pictures, I was like, ugh. I got the ick.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I like it. I have no problem with their bodies. You know, like I think the EVFs are good. I like the color and black and white that comes out of Panasonic. Image quality's good. I don't mind the interface at all personally. It just, and the autofocus is fine for a lot of photography. It's just not, just doesn't quite have the capability to compete when you want to do more demanding photographic situations.
Well, I think Gordon Lang has been kind of boosting this idea that L-mount is a really great value if you're looking at kind of the lower end of it a little bit, like an S5 II. If you don't like Sony's ergonomics, that's tough because all their cameras are designed exactly the same way. To have a more traditional style grip in the Panasonics and then access to all of those Sigmas and affordable Lumix lenses, a lot of their affordable stuff is really good. That's where it's really solid. I think Jaron's frustration, and mine as well, is if you're a photographer looking at the higher tier, like the more enthusiast,
Sure.
then yes, you have the S1R2, which, yeah, Chris has been frustrated with the autofocus on that quite a bit. Someone needs to make basically like the L-mount version of an A7 IV, a complete all-rounder that can do anything. And unfortunately, Leica's not going to do it. Sigma's not going to do it.
Which is
Panasonic.
So frustrating. Like, take the Sigma autofocus technology in the BF and stick it inside of a Panasonic camera. And we would be basically there.
I don't know why Sigma would want to do that for their own company. But
Kazuda-san, please make me that camera.
He said he's working on it, Jaron.
Yeah,
he said he's working on it.
I've been in that factory. They're restricted on how much they can do at one time.
He said he's working on it. He's like, I want to make a camera that's like worthy of all the lenses that we make and the purposes that they're intended for, is basically what he said. But yeah, I mean, and Panasonic will get better, I hope, sooner than later. But you know what? Like, Sony's have the same issue. Not everybody loves their handling. Not everybody loves the way they look. They're not very sexy cameras, but what they do have is they can do any job well. There's no denying it.
Mm-hmm. And you have more.
No, thumbnail for this podcast just be Jaron rubbing his forehead like he just was there. I want L mount to be good. I want it to be good so badly.
These things take time.
So badly. They do, but the L Mount Alliance has been around for a while. Seemingly anyone can join if they want to. It's just I'm not feeling like someone is giving us the camera that Jordan described that's on L mount, and I'm regularly frustrated by it. The more we complain, the more it happens.
That's what we've been taught. So.
I will put I will put my forehead to the ground at CP Plus in front of Kazuda Yamaki-san and ask him to desperately can we take everything that's inside his BF and just put that in a larger...
My concern there, if they do make a camera, I mean, my track record with Sigma cameras is I just really don't like the way that they're designed handling wise.
Yeah, you have to make it normal.
If he makes I'm skeptical. I think it's going to still be like they have a very specific design ethos that they want to accomplish, and that's
like
great.
Grasping a sea urchin tightly. That's what you said.
They're unapologetic about it, and that's fine. But I mean, I'm open to it. I just hope it handles like an actual.
Their DSLRs were normal-ish.
No. A shutter speed dial that says slow fast, no.
Okay, no. How you hold it. It didn't feel uncomfortable to hold them.
Yeah, it didn't feel good, actually. But, that's another story. That's, we're going way back.
All right, well, I want to know where all y'all stand with this Z-mount thing, because, I mean, obviously, you hear where we are on this. Like, we all three understand where Nikon's coming from here. Like, we absolutely think that Viltrox should have been paying to use the mount legally. It's just that I have great fear that we just will have two Canon RF mounts now, and that's frustrating as a user. So, all right. Well, with that out of our system, what have you guys been up to?
Go ahead, Chris.
I don't.
How's the weather?
I'm trying to think if I've done anything. It's been a lot of work. I've been working.
Okay.
I did watch. Yeah. It really just comes down to like, what do we watch? I mean, that's kind of the thing is like, we're sort of in watching stuff. So I did watch, my wife and I watched Sentimental Moments.
Sentimental Values.
Oh, Sentimental Values. It was interesting. I mean, it's a beautiful film. It's very subtle. It's very slow, but not in a bad way. Some of the performances are fantastic. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård gives a very subtle performance, but he won the Golden Globe for this performance, and I don't know. I'm mixed on it. It was good, but I guess it didn't really float my boat. All the other actors in it were very good. But yeah, I mean, I watched it. I don't know. Would I recommend it? I don't know. Are you going to watch it, Jordan?
Well, that was actually going to be my what have I been up to, because I am not going to bore you all, if you don't care, with my opinions on movies, because that's usually what I do on what have you been up to.
He just wants
started. I have started a Letterboxd account. So if you actually care, you can see what I have been watching. And I'm going to write longer reviews at some point, but I'm just writing a few paragraphs right now. So you can go see my most recent watches and thoughts on it. This week, I'm on a tear. We saw Begonia. We saw Sentimental Value, F1. Liam and I went and saw Avatar in the theater. I'm going through the Oscar movies.
You haven't seen No Other Choice yet.
I haven't yet because it's not. So a bunch of movies are finally unloading on pay-per-view. So, I'm happy to pay the $10 or whatever to see an almost first-run movie. But that means I still haven't seen Marty Supreme, No Other Choice. And there's another one in there that I still need to catch up on. But I'm doing my best.
How was like try to watch as many as we can before. In 10 seconds, what was your opinion about Sentimental Values?
I really liked it, but his previous movie was The Worst Person in the World, which is in my top 5 movies of the last decade.
So good.
That's an incredible film. Yeah. So I don't think this quite lived up to it, but I was very moved by it, and I think the performances are incredible, especially the stage fright sequence right off the top is
those were great.
Riveting.
But Renata did an amazing job in this movie. Yeah. Did Stellan Skarsgård do an amazing job? He did a good job. Was it amazing?
I think he's very good and very understated. I bought all of it. So anyways, it is 4.5 out of 5 stars on my Letterboxd.
Damn,
which says
that's
it's not
high,
quite as good as Worst Person in the World.
That's
I
high.
liked Stellan in the Star Wars series. He was outstanding. So.
He's outstanding in everything. That family, frustrating.
Did you like Avatar?
Those aren't my kind of movies, but it is nice to just like dip in and see like what is the actual state of the art right now. Like it looks incredible, the same as Way of Water did. So I'm happy to just look at things, but no, it's not it's over 3 hours. It's so badly. It's not my kind of movie, but my kid and I, we had a good time. We ate pulled pork and chicken sandwiches while we watched it, and it was pleasant. So
I still need to watch that DiCaprio movie you told me to watch.
Yeah, it's great.
I was planning on putting it on, and then I saw the runtime, and I'm like, well, it's already 8:00. I'm not starting this now. So I need to actually set aside time and watch that. What's it called again?
One Battle After Another. And if you start it, you will finish it because it is a ride. It's so great.
Greatest directors of all time.
Maybe I'll watch it on the airplane because
you got to watch Ratatouille first.
I actually have Disney Plus now, so I could watch Ratatouille on the plane and sob my eyes out. You're right.
Yeah, hey, you should watch Ratatouille, and then also that anime that I told you to watch.
I have that on my iPad, so I will watch that.
Oh, finally.
We were in New York last week for, again, reasons you'll find out about later. And then next week, there is no podcast because we're doing something else that you'll find out about later. So we'll have a lot of
support.
We'll have a lot of what have you been up to talk about in the future. But for now, we're going to move on to tech support. I have a lot here, so let's get started with an email from Toby. Hey guys, I really enjoy listening to your podcasts, and I especially enjoyed the "Our Camera's Actually More Expensive Now" segment, which brought some surprising insight and actually changed my mind on that matter.
Great job,
Thank you for that. Good job, Jordan. Give yourself a pat on the back.
That was fun.
Do it right now.
I like doing games on this podcast.
Pat your back. Do it. You did a good job. There we go. But looking at just the camera bodies only tells half the story. How about doing the same thing again with lenses? I'd be really interested in that. Thanks for your work. Greetings from Germany, Toby. Toby, you are not the only one who asked, but you were the first one to ask. And you sent it straight to my email. So just so you know, we will be doing that. I have it on the board.
We made that decision to do that about 5 minutes after we finished that segment. So it's all.
I would say maybe in February, I think the 11th or the 18th, we'll do it.
That said, we're doing a speed round now, gang. All right. So,
What?
Yes, we are.
What?
All right. I'm going to give you one lens. I'm going to give you one lens.
Okay.
And I want you guys to do same rules as before. You tell me if you think the price, solely looking at inflation, not cost of living,
I don't like
or
surprises.
wage disparity. No, I can't figure that out, people. So stop asking for it. So just looking at inflation, let's talk about the Nikon 2470 f2.8 original ED for F mount, okay? And compare that to the current Nikon Z24-70 f2.8 version 2 that has come out for Z mount. Do you think the price has gone? Think the price has gone up, stayed the same, or dropped?
I think it went
stayed
down.
the same. No,
All right.
Dropped.
Yeah.
Dropped.
Okay, so that's dropped for Chris. What was yours, Jaron?
I think the price is lower today.
All right. So the 2470 originally came out at $1,700 in August 2007. Adjusting for inflation, that would be $26,000 or $2,600. $2,649. It's not that bad yet. And the Z mount is $2,700. So the price has, within that 20%, stayed the same. There, that's a teaser for an upcoming episode.
The 24-70 was going to be one I knew you were going to bring up. And you know what's going to be interesting about this?
Well, you can't do that now.
My guess is it's going to either be it's going to be the opposite of the last one. I bet most of these are going to have gone up in price. That's going to be my guess, but I will save that for the next episode. We'll do that in a couple of weeks. Fun. Here's a question that we got on YouTube from John C. Because we brought this up is when people buy stuff in Japan, they tend to value different things than North America or Europe does. So John C. asked, what are the priorities for Japanese customers if they're different to other countries?
Cuteness,
smallness. Small. I mean, look, we don't want to generalize the Japanese population. I mean, but when you go to Japan, you look in Yodobashi and you look at all the different stores and stuff, there is a lot more, what would I say? There's a much broader appeal to people who are maybe not pro photographers or enthusiasts, but just want to have fun and do stuff. So where we have Instax, they take that 10 times that, right? They, as Jordan says, they got a lot of fun cameras. They like different colors for sure. I think preference for small and portable is quite high. And cameras that give a more fun experience than necessarily a manual or full featured experience. That's a whole industry. But then, of course, it's the exact same when it comes to the enthusiast photographer. I don't know if there's any difference there.
They sell more of those small compact cameras. There's a reason that Olympus only launched the most recent pen series in Japan. Because they knew they'd sell them. And they only wanted to make a certain amount probably. And they're we can sell all of these if we only dedicate it to the Japanese market. And
you got brands like Casio who have a whole line of cameras that most people in North America wouldn't even have a clue about, right? Because we just don't get them here or it's not marketed here. Tons and tons. Tons of fun cameras. Yeah.
I think one really interesting dynamic over there is you look at the mounts that are popular in Japan but not here. The big two would be Micro Four Thirds, and actually Canon M mount is still huge over there, which are both mounts designed for just make it as small as possible and cute, fun cameras.
When we were in Japan with Nikon a couple of years ago, one of the guys had a Nikon 1 that he had.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was you know what? That's probably a popular camera if you re-release that now. I guarantee you'd sell those again.
Yeah.
Because the size is super neat. And he had adapted a Voigtlander lens on there or something. And it was
I would argue that you can take a lot more risks in the Asian markets. Because honestly, it's not just Japan, right? China has I would argue that China has a similar kind of desire as well for cameras. And probably Korea as well. I think it's more of an Eastern market thing where it's just there's lots of... You can take risks, you can make fun cameras, you can try different colors, and it seems like in North America we're kind of conservative and stodgy when it comes to a lot of camera design.
All right, next one is an email from Jonas, or Jonas, however you want to pronounce that. For me, I don't really have a problem with lenses on RFE, ZL, or Micro Four Thirds. You have a complete lens lineup and a camera lineup. Even though there are, of course, some gaps, most things are available. On the other hand, with medium format, it's harder to get a grasp on things. The future is unclear. There are usually only one or two camera bodies that are often quite niche. It also feels like you never really know if they'll continue to exist or be discontinued, which makes it very uncertain to invest in a lens system. How should one think about medium format?
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong. I mean, I don't tell you. I mean,
excellent evaluation.
Yeah. I think that's probably part of the broad appeal with Fujifilm. Well, there's lots of broad appeal with Fujifilm because it's an established camera company. They make a lot of lenses. The cameras are selling well. They're very capable cameras. They're fairly affordable. And, they're a safe bet. I don't think anybody's buying a GFX and thinking is this going to be, available in 5 years? I mean, they seem to be going strong. So that snowballs because you're right. I think there is a sort of uncertainty in medium format. And I think Fujifilm's capitalizing on it very effectively, right? Why invest $20,000 in a system if you don't know? And then on the other extreme, you got stuff like Capture One, where phase one, I should say, phase one, where I'm yeah, like this is the most
sorta
niche of
gave
niche
up.
products. Sorry?
Like, they sort of like they used to be doing stuff regularly.
Sure,
new
yeah,
bodies, new backs, new lenses, and they sort of just went bleh and
yeah,
stopped.
yeah.
Once I think capture and phase split. They
You
used
just
to be
don't have a
one
lot of
company.
choices, right? I mean, what are we really looking at? We're looking at phase one, but that's not really a practical
really.
choice. You're looking at Hasselblad. Hasselblad's doing great right now, but it is definitely a camera company that's more prestigious and aimed at maybe like the street and travel photographer. You know, you're not going to find a lot of those in the studio necessarily. You will, but not to the same degree, I would argue, as GFX. I mean, who else is there? Really?
Leica, technically.
Yeah.
Aren't we
I
waiting?
mean, Leica's not going anywhere, but is their medium format going anywhere?
Yeah, what was that system? Is the SL?
Yes, yeah, SL.
Yeah.
Just straight S. I think
S,
the
yeah.
S3 was the last one.
They are at least dabbling in the thought of maybe reviving that format, I think, but they haven't done anything.
It's still
in a couple
going. I mean,
several
it's,
years.
you know, but again, Leica's one of those companies that, you know, for what Jonas is saying, it's like you're not buying into Leica with a concern that it's going to be a good investment or something. You know what I mean? Like you're buying into Leica because you're buying into Leica. That's why you buy Leica. You buy Leica because it's Leica.
So Fujifilm is the only one that you would buy because of the investment, right?
I would argue that and I know like the manufacturer probably hate me saying this, but I would argue that Fujifilm is really the only medium format company right now that is making like a complete line of cameras for different situations and outputs. I think they're the only company at least that's kind of pulling away from the niche perception that medium format has.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Hasselblad's doing, I think it's all, they recognize like, hey, our big feature is leaf shutters. So they're more portrait-oriented focal lengths, and they're not making super teles, crazy ultra-wides like Fujifilm is right now. So if you want niche formats, then Hasselblad doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you do want that fast sync, then that's your mirrorless option. And I do think Hasselblad's pretty solid right now. The X2D2 was a really popular, like it was selling well. So that makes sense. In terms of phase, Jaron, what can they do? They make an SLR with a single focus point, like until Sony makes a new sensor.
They could do what Hasselblad did and just completely redesign their system to be like modern. They could do that.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
That takes money and time, though.
Yeah.
Hasselblad's doing a great job of incorporating more modern technology into their camera system. And I don't think anybody expected that. I certainly didn't. And
I did not either, especially where Hasselblad was prior to this, making just the worst possible business decisions prior to actually taking cameras seriously again. It was not in my like 2015 bingo card to be like, yeah, Hasselblad's still killing it.
See, sometimes a company coming in and purchasing you can be positive.
Or getting rid of a CEO who just doesn't know what they're doing. That also helps. Okay.
Ooh,
next one.
Niagara Falls. Nick.
Is an email from Nick. Hi, PetaPixel. I'm Nick from Niagara Falls, and I've been enjoying your video reviews for many years and podcasts just recently. I don't like podcasts because I'd rather listen to music, but here I am watching your podcasts. My very first camera was an Olympus EPL1 in 2013. It's cheap, and I like that I don't see other people in our photo walks using Olympus, and that makes me feel like I'm unique. Fast forward today, I have the EM5, EM1, OM1, and OM5 Mark Is. The love for Olympus OM system cameras is still there, and I think it has become part of my identity. I've also shot with the Canon 550D for a year, but I didn't feel invested with it. I tried the Lumix G9 when Olympus had fallen, but it's just not right. However, when I saw and held a Nikon ZF and FC with my hands, it just felt right, especially the ZF. I'm usually the functionality over beauty person, but my brain doesn't seem to work that same way with cameras. I'm a casual hobby photographer and newbie astrophotographer until I recently developed a keen interest with portraiture, couples, and wedding photography in advance. Man, this guy just likes picking pictures. I appreciate that. I find the depth of field of Micro Four Thirds to be actually useful when more people need to be in focus in event photos. Though I'd be lying if I didn't wish for shallower depth of field in portraits. I've invested in the Olympus Trinity Pro zoom lenses, 17mm f2 1.2 Pro lens and the 75mm f1.8 lens, but I'm curious to know if I would be wasting money if I try to get the other 25mm and 45mm f1.2 Pro lenses, or use that money for a ZF and 3 Nikon primes. I don't want to sell my Olympus gear, and being able to bring the trinity of Pro lenses and 2 primes and 2 bodies in a reasonably sized backpack is something I like very much. I am looking for the Nikon Z and F lenses, and they are not cheap. I think my answer already, which is to stick with Olympus, so I want to know if there are people who shoot weddings, events, and similar kind of photography using solo Micro Four Thirds.
I
Look,
think
you could just grab a Nikon ZF body and a bunch of Viltrox. Like, oh no,
Jordan.
oh, it's a real problem. Chris, I hope you have an answer.
Yeah, I hope so. So, Nick, I mean, you do have an excellent alternative if you want that beauty analog itch scratch, which is the OM3. It's a great camera. I feel like the functionality is actually very similar to the ZF and the ZF-C. It absolutely captures the same look. It's a great camera, and you'd find it very familiar. So I would recommend that if you want that itch scratched. I have no problem shooting pro events with Micro Four Thirds. You just have to understand the limitations of Micro Four Thirds, which I think you are already figuring out. I don't often wish for shallower depth of field, but I can see how once in a while you'd want it. Certainly low light performance, higher megapixels. For me, that's still the reason why you go full frame. I don't think you're going to find many people that use Micro Four Thirds for weddings and event photography. I really don't. And it's not that you couldn't. I just don't think you're going to find that very often. But yeah, man, look at an OM3. You'll get that itch scratched. You already have the lenses. The glass is great. Invest in it. I do like getting the 1.2 lenses for Micro Four Thirds because that is effectively getting you more of that full frame look to a lot of the shots, right? You're not going to get the equivalent of a 1.4 lens on full frame, no, but close enough in my opinion for a lot of things. What you're not going to get is high megapixels. If you don't need that, don't worry about it.
Anything to add, Jordan?
Nope. It's a shame you can't put a Viltrox on that ZF.
Next one is a speak pipe from Jake.
Hi, my name's Jake. I'm from South Korea and also a proud member of PetaPixel. I have two questions, but I'll try to be quick. The one is camera question, one is kind of not. The first one is about the compact cameras like RX1 and Fuji X100 series. But in the film days, there were like cameras like Contax T2, which were also like kind of full frame compact camera, which actually had a lens that retracts into the body, so it was actually pocketable, while the RX1, which has the same 35mm lens, although a little bit bigger aperture, now cannot be retractable, and now it has it doesn't fit in my pocket anymore. So I was wondering why in the digital era, while the image cycle is the same, why is the lens has become so bigger? The second question is, I'm visiting Calgary for a few stopovers at the end of the month, and I was wondering if Chris and Jordan had any food recommendations in the area. Keep up the great work. I'm sorry this was very long, but cramming in two questions was really hard, so thank you.
Well, I will say... my bad, because this was 3 months ago. So your recommendations for food will not be useful to this particular person at this time.
Yeah, he's already been to Calgary and he was like, damn those guys for not answering my food question. I mean, it's an interesting question. I think there's a lot to it. The first thing I would say is film didn't quite have, I know this is going to sound counterproductive, all optical performance is precise. I know the internet's going to jump down on my throat, but it's like, film didn't have quite the same tolerances for image quality and the lenses required that digital has. When digital sensors came out, the requirement for image quality is incredibly high to make it work properly. And in film, you had movement in the film plane, you had unevenness on the actual film itself. You would have, and Contax T2 is precisely made. I mean, it's machined beautifully, it's engineered beautifully. So you can have a retractable system where the lens will still be precise enough to work for the results that you want. But it's also because with digital sensors, as I understand it, they want to get that lens as close to the sensor plane as possible physically. They use different designs than what we would often use with film. And by doing that, you can't really retract it because there's no space to retract. Like that RX1, that sensor is going to be right behind that optical back element pretty much. And you could retract the lens if you wanted to make it, I don't know, bigger. No, you can't. You can't retract it. It's just the way that they're designing it.
This, like I've seen this, the X100. I'm holding the X106. The X106, I've seen like the cross section of this, and it is
right behind that back element,
right up on it,
absolutely, right behind it, and the quality is good for that. So it's just not necessary to do right. Mirrorless cameras are already very compact, but I get it. I get what you're saying. film you could put basically millimeters from the back of the physical camera itself as well. You don't need to have any space for digital screens or for wiring or componentry or anything like that. PCB board, none of that stuff, right? So yeah, it's yeah.
Sure, it goes to show that the actual engineering behind the GR4 is very impressive.
That's where I was going to go. Yeah. I think he kind of touched on the email is the faster lens. I think if people are just getting a fixed lens, they want a little bit of speed, because you look at the GR4 and you look at the Fujifilm X100, your primary difference, same sensor size on them, is that Fuji lens is a full stop faster. So people really do want that extra light. And if you're willing to sacrifice it, then yeah, you can get some collapsing cameras. And clearly the GR success shows that there's an interest in that. That's a compromise people are willing to make. So hopefully they do. More than just Ricoh.
The next one is an email from Botch.
Botch.
Hi, Pixel folks.
Yes.
Enjoyed the latest episode on the best wildlife camera system. Boy, it's not the latest anymore. While discussing Canon's odd, slow telephotos, Jaron mentioned something about not liking the, quote, look of the depth of field on slower lenses. I agree. The subject doesn't pop sometimes when there's too much in focus around the subject. I know digital editing can be used to blur out the backgrounds to a certain degree, and subject isolation algorithms get better and better. It's possible to put the critter subject on a separate layer, blur the background via editing, and then restack it. I never see this mentioned nor suggested anywhere. Is it a path for those who can't afford or carry the super fast glass? Thoughts? Also, thanks for recording Chris's hems and haws trying to decide the worst wildlife photo system. It's my new ringtone. Hold on, do I still have that? Chris sounds. Hold on, this one?
We do good work here,
using that on
gentlemen.
their phone.
I actually don't think that faking depth of field works.
I mean, there is software that does this. You can do
on
this.
phones and also on computers. Sure, I just don't think it doesn't.
I don't
do
know.
something
I
for-
mean,
doesn't do anything for me.
the results are pretty good with blurring out the background on smartphones, but when you look at those photos, you can see still the issues, right? Like from a quality standpoint, it still doesn't quite hold up. Plus the phones are able to use a lot of data from depth mapping, which wouldn't be available with a single lens when you're shooting like a mirrorless camera system. So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm all for, I love AI. You know how much I love AI, but I still don't, I would prefer, what?
I still don't get it.
I know you don't. You have to research, but I
don't want to.
but I still think real is better. So yeah, unfortunately, that's the cost of getting lenses with nice looking shallow depth of field. They're going to be heavy. They're going to be big, especially on larger full frame cameras. And it's super important. I mean, when you're shooting these birds, like, yeah, you want to have really clean backgrounds in a lot of cases. You really want to separate them against even branches that are close by, and certainly have situations where the background can just be like almost solid color. Really makes them pop. So, but I don't know. But
all right. This is last one. It's not really tech support, but I thought I would share this with you guys. This is going to be news to you too as well.
Ooh.
I got an email from Ben. It reads this: Happy New. This is actually very new. So like this New Year, this all this statement makes sense. Happy New Year. It's likely too late to say that, but hey ho. I've been a PetaPixel member for a year now and have enjoyed every minute of it. I regularly read your articles, watch your videos, and never miss an episode on the podcast. In fact, I look forward to you three plus occasional guests chasing around about whatever, not just photography, video related stuff. You guys and the rest of the PetaPixel team work your backsides off to provide, quite frankly, an astonishing amount of content that you put out. It's no small feat, so I was absolutely fine when my membership auto-renewed the other day. But it got me thinking, what I get from you guys is, to me, worth way more than $30 it costs for me for a whole year. That's right, a membership is just $30 a year. So how do I give you a bit more to show my thanks? I could take out another membership and leave it dormant, but I'm a tidy kind of guy, and that just leaves me a mess on people's servers. Does PetaPixel have a PayPal account I can send some money to? Hard work should be rewarded, and I get a huge benefit from yours, so it's only fair that I at least buy you guys a few beers to say thanks. Looking forward to hearing from you. Regards, Ben. So I responded to Ben and said, Ben, please do not just send us money. We don't do that. You don't have to do that. Ben heard me, but said, I will not listen. And he sent money anyway. So he is saying essentially, I'm going to treat you guys to a dinner of your choice because he sent us enough money for me to buy you guys a nice dinner.
It's very kind
That
of
is so impossibly sweet.
I just like these emails, man. That's all I want. Let us know that we're doing a good job. I appreciate that you appreciate how much hard work goes into it, because it's a lot from our entire team, not just Jordan and I and Jared. And thank you for being a member. That's fantastic. We really appreciate that. That's all we ask.
And again, Ben, don't send me money. Don't do that. But because you did it and I can't give it back, now I have to give them food. So you've done it. You succeeded in your task.
We do need to eat
extra money.
We do need to eat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Now we have to agree on what to eat. That'll be tricky. Oh, and you should print out a picture of Ben's face so we can just stick it on a seat at a 4-seat table, and it'll be like he's joining us for it.
Okay.
And he is sending us this value. It was in British pounds. So you know what, Ben? If we come to the UK, I will send you an email, and maybe we'll be in an area.
And we can have some beers.
You could actually say hello, and we can thank you in person. So thank you for that. All right. Although I don't think I've ever been to the UK for a camera thing.
Never been.
Never.
Really want to.
They never have events in the UK. Yeah. Anyway,
Richard Butler's giving me a hard time about it all the time. I got to address this.
Yeah.
we've got 2 feel-good stories of the week.
We need
That's so many.
2 feel-good stories of the week. The first one is a photographer discovers a 70-year-old undeveloped film inside a $13 secondhand camera, and the pictures are sweet. Like, these are cool photos of a ski trip, and like, it is a blast from the past here. I absolutely love this kind of thing.
Ferrochrome from 1956.
Isn't that dope? Isn't that cool?
That is, it's
go
a
check
cool
out the
story.
article.
It's a cool story. Yeah. Imagine
me
how
feel
much better the photos would be if they were developed promptly. Wow.
And they're still pretty good.
And they still look cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Excellent stuff. And the second feel-good story of the week is I just like to applaud ingenuity and young minds. An aerospace student noticed a problem that he was having and decided to build a solution. So the idea here being is like, what if you only have a drone? Like, you bought a drone, you don't have a ton of money to buy lots of cameras, and you want to be able to match footage between your aerial footage and your ground footage. Well, he decided to build a mount system that holds a DJI drone that you can then control it with the remote control handheld. So it cradles it in front of the controller, and you could actually still have complete control of the gimbal. One of the things that people were saying was this thing might overheat. They're not designed to be used like this. He has heard you, and in an update just this week, after we published this, the last couple days, he's built a fan system for it. So now it does indeed have the ability to cool. Kid's listening. Kid is doing great stuff. I wanted to just essentially be like, this is the type of thing that I really appreciate.
This is great ingenuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
saw a
also that
problem,
like his early
solved it.
prototypes were like straight up made out of cardboard boxes glued together. It was
That's great.
All you need to start.
Yeah.
good for you, man.
Yeah, the cardboard one is fantastic. Like, amazing. Good work.
and it's not $1 million either. Like, yeah, he's done really good. It's like $30.
You know what?
Great
He's
job.
not
This
trying
is
to get rich off it either. It's just a good idea.
Yeah, I would do this. I think, matching DJI to other cameras can be a real pain. So to just be able to take that off. And it's a quicker setup than most gimbals, honestly. Like, you don't have to rebalance every axis. So just grab this thing and go for a walk. It's really smart. Well done. There's hope for the future, everyone.
I hope somebody has anybody found these like the photos from the first story from Switzerland? Nobody's come forward to be like, that's my grandpa or something like that. No.
Well, we hopefully, if I haven't heard anything, so if you recognize those photos, you know what? Reach out. We can connect you, and
There you go.
really neat. It's a long time ago, so it seems like a stretch, but good luck. And with that, that's the podcast for this week. We are off next week. We will be back the week after, so look forward to the next podcast on February 11th. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thanks, boys. Bye.